Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Women in Tech Awards panel discussion for International Women's Day. Just a few announcements. So the Women in Tech Awards this year has now opened up as a national award. So please do get your nominations in on the Women in Tech Awards. And we will be celebrating this year on the 17th of October. So it'll be great to have as many nominations across industries and come together to celebrate women, not just from the Midlands, but from across all of the UK. So as I had an intro, what I'll do is I'll allow each of the panelists to do a little introduction, and then we'll go into the questions. Would you like to start?
Hello, everyone. I'm Eman Al-Hillawi. I am CEO and co-founder of Entec SI Limited. We're a business change consultancy that's based in Birmingham. We help our clients make change happen.
Hi, I'm Helen Dickens. So I work for a management consultancy called Methods. We're a digital transformation provider, working mostly across the public sector, so lots of government, central government clients, and we deliver change as well, so similar to Eman.
Hi, I'm Chontica, Lueaaroonsawat, Principal Product Manager in Automotive industry. So a little bit about me. I'm a true believer of cognitive diversity, and also I lead the innovation through it as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Lisa. I'm the founder of Cybersecurity Unity, which is a community organisation that I set up to try and foster some greater collaboration within the cybersecurity space. And I also work as a consultant in communications and strategic marketing. I'm also a writer, journalist and speaker, and a judge for the awards this year. So it's a real honour to be here today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. So today's subject, we're going to be talking about women at the forefront, how women are driving digital transformation across industries. There's a few questions, so I'll allow each of the panelists to share their answers, and at the end we'll allow for questions as well. So, number one, breaking barriers in digital leadership. Women are increasingly leading digital transformation initiatives across industries. What challenges have you faced in driving digital change, and how have you overcome them to shape the future of technology? Helen, do you want to go first?
So I think for me, a massive thing is around imposter syndrome. So we get into a situation, we're surrounded by counterpart male colleagues, and we have to thrive. And sometimes you're in a position where you're not only needing to thrive, but you're also needing to survive, just outperform the other colleagues as well. So you've got some kind of stance or position within the organisation or project that you're trying to deliver. But I think going in there and understanding and knowing your worth, I think it's a self-esteem type value building exercise as well. So you know that you're in there, you've got the expertise, and you can deliver that project or initiative in the best way that you can. And you have to prove yourself, but you shouldn't have to. So it's about knowing your worth, going in there, taking each challenge at a time and just building that reputational impact. And it does come, and it's just a repetitive based action. So do it, remember it, build it, and then that, it all comes with the process as well.
So I'm going to come at mine from a slightly different perspective, but exactly the same story that Helen's just spoken about. My counterpartner in the business is male. He's a little bit older than me. And even though we're co-founders and we own the business and we've worked together 25 years now, every time I go into a room in my career, they always defer to Peter because he's the male. And I'm usually looked at as the person who's there to take the notes or sort out his diary. That's been a massive challenge throughout my career. And it posed a few issues between us occasionally. Obviously, Peter couldn't help the way people reacted to things. So particularly in the tech industry, there's a lot of guys that think we don't understand what they're talking about. There's a lot of mansplaining that goes on. And those are the sorts of barriers that we've had to overcome, and we've had to overcome them jointly. For me, it's what you've just said. It's about that repetitiveness, having to almost prove yourself time and time again, and having to be better and a lot better to be able to be seen as an equal. So it's just about consistency, it's about persistence, it's about continually going on that journey and proving that you do know what you're talking about and just get on with it.
Ron, would you like to go next?
Okay. So for me, maybe it start from it's hard for me to find someone that actually look like me. So representative is matter. The more diverse you are, the more difficult it is. Especially if you know a little bit about myself. I came from really humble family, and I self-funded myself through education and also support my family at the same time. So coming to UK, I spent just only £1,000. That's all I had that I saved through my life. That is already show like my background. So coming into professional work, especially in UK, most people doesn't look like me at all. How do I find a commonality with them? So that means I have to align what I want to achieve through business transformation, through technology, and through the norm of the business as well to be able to drive transformation.
Thank you. So for me, echoing a lot of what Helen said, imposter syndrome has absolutely and utterly plagued me throughout my career. So much so, I'm actually a co-founder of International Imposter Syndrome Awareness Day, and the next one's on 13th of April this year, because I really wanted to open up the conversation around it, because I felt that I was the only one that was, whatever I achieved, in the back of my mind, there was always, I'm a fraud and I'm going to be found out at any second, or they didn't mean me for that project or me for that opportunity. They mean it for somebody else. And so that's why it was really important to open up the conversation around imposter syndrome, so people feel like they're not alone. And in cyber, it's well known that we have a big gender imbalance gap, and I can echo a lot as well as of what was said around the whole piece of, if I've been in meetings, I've been the one that's assumed will take the minutes or make the coffee and tea and so on. And overcoming that as well has been really, really difficult. But I think I'm quite outspoken. And whether that's because I'm neurodivergent, late diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and I also can't bear to see injustice in the workplace. I've also been targeted by a massive amount of bullying and abuse as well. But I'll never stop speaking up when I see other people being treated that way, or if I'm being treated that way. And I always disarm it by saying, did you mean to say that to me? Can you rephrase that? And it really helps to put that person that's doing it sort of on the spot and to get them thinking about what they're saying back to you. And I'm also the master of spotting narcissistic personalities within the workplace. I've dealt with so many of them throughout my career. And all of the bullies and abusers that I've had in the workplace that have actually caused me to move on from opportunities have also had a high degree of narcissistic traits. And sadly, the only bit of advice I can give if you encounter that kind of personality is to find a new opportunity and to get away from them as soon as possible, because they won't change and they never take responsibility or apologize for their behavior.
Thank you so much. So a lot of the answers resonated with my own personal career as well. So having been the only woman in a room of 200 men, the token female taken to events, to dinners, to conferences, but not being allowed to speak, I think all of those can knock your confidence. But I think one thing I've learned is persevere. And if you aren't recognized, as Lisa said, as being valued in your organization, take the confidence to make the change, because I think we want to be in a room where it's more of a gender split, where there's more women and you aren't feeling like you're the sole woman representing the gender. So I think really, really, really good answers.
May I add something into that? because sometimes you don't need to feel confident, just do it. You can be so nervous, but just do it, and that's how you can break through.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Fawn. So go to next question. Tech for good and ethical innovation. Digital transformation comes with ethical considerations from AI biases to data privacy. How can women in tech play a pivotal role in ensuring digital advancements are responsible, inclusive, and beneficial to all? Lisa?
I'm starting to pivot to do a lot of work in the AI space at the moment, and it never ceases to astound me how much bias comes out of a lot of these models, like Gemini, ChatGPT, etc. But it's only pulling out what's been fed into it, and I always say as well, it's bias in, bias out. So it can only throw out what it's learned from us in the first place. So I believe very much in the power of inclusive design. So really engaging those underrepresented communities in technology development to help build those solutions, especially in AI, that work for everyone and not just for perhaps the privileged few. And one interesting thing I did note around ChatGPT was some of the information that it was throwing out around the US presidential election, where the information about President Biden was all very positive and all sort of very inclusive. The information about the other candidate was the exact opposite of that. And you can't really make informed, whatever your allegiances may be, you can't make informed decisions on those sort of hallucinations that AI puts out. So always be mindful of whatever you're looking at, whatever these learning language models do put out in response. Always fact check them as well and make sure that they're as precise as they can be.
Fawn, would you like to go?
Wow, you actually talk a lot about it already. I like
A little bit closer into the mic.
I like to add more into data privacy. Now privacy seems to be a luxury thing. So if you can get things for free if you sell your information. So we have to be mindful of that even more. In the future, to be privileged, it means you have to spend on it. You have to pay for it, for your data not to be distributed to anywhere else, not to be used. So as a woman, especially in leader, I like to encourage people to define the policy on this so our data not being misused. Another thing that coming up really soon is quantum computing. What is going to impact us is make our password that got encrypted, decrypted even easier. So how do we solve that? That is another trend coming to on ethical forum.
So the way I understand AI is by the end of this decade, it's going to be that intelligent. It's the equivalent of us being like a fly compared to Albert Einstein. That's my understanding. And this is a quote from Mo Gawdat, for those of you who know him, ex-business chief officer of Google. Now, so my understanding is, with that in mind, we are teaching a toddler to learn about everything that we know about us and the world in general. And as such, the only people who are teaching it is everyone around here. And what Lisa was saying about the bias in, bias out, garbage in, garbage out, it's exactly that. And our responsibility is to interact with it. You've got to be in it to win it, in my view. So get in there, get stuck in, and teach it ethics, teach it to understand us better, to teach it to have empathy, etc., etc. So the more we interact, the more we take on board what we're learning from it. Machine learning is there. It's already here. Everyone who has Spotify knows the minute that you turn it on, it knows exactly what you're looking for and exactly the kind of thing you like and don't like. So actually, we need to interact with it. We need to deal with it now. It's here. It's in our power, and it's our responsibility.
So I think just to add, I think it's really important about data being a fundamental. So we as women have to contribute. I think we shouldn't shy away from AI. It is the way of the world. Persevere, learn, and let's change the data biases that are already out there. And by coming together and joining up, I think that's the only way you're going to change it. Everything in AI and the future is all based on data, and organizations will use and manipulate that data in whichever way possible. So embrace it. Okay, next question. This is a question I feel quite passionate about. Empowering the next generation of women in tech. As digital transformation reshapes industries, how can we ensure that more women have access to opportunities in tech leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship? Lisa?
Helen.
Okay. I think it's really important for me to call out that digital transformation as a term is so vast, it's actually really scary, and it doesn't need to be. So females that are trying to enter into the variety of vastness of roles are actually daunted by that term. So it's really important to understand that you can enter the tech industry as a female, as a male, as anybody from the most different multifaceted roles that you could possibly even imagine. So don't be daunted by that fact or by that term. Reach out and have a conversation with somebody that is already in the industry, who's got an interest in tech, and just build your confidence to have those conversations just as a starting point. I'm a firm believer in learning and development. I'm a massive advocate for developing other females within our organisation as well. So reaching out to them, mentorship programs. If you've got a family member who's got some sort of skills or expertise, just reach out to them, understand how you could get in, the kind of events that you can attend, and build your confidence and knowledge in the things that we're doing around us as well. I'm always really open to bringing people in on my team, showing them what I do, how I do it, having sort of day in the life of workshops, experiences, and building them up with just lunch and learn sessions as well. So just capturing your audience with little snippets or tasks or things that you do, and building that sort of reputation for actually we are female leaders and we are here to build the world for the future generation. So when I'm talking to my daughter and I'm like, this is where I'm going today, I'm going to present at this organisation, and she's like, oh wow, Mum, this is amazing, and she's already feeling the engagement, the things that we do. So the opportunities are there. You just need to be open and aware and be ready to accept them.
So as the owner of Entec SI, I have the privilege to be working with about over 60% of our team are female. 3 of them are here in the audience. Now that's not, to be fair, that is not a specifically focused recruitment campaign. That is simply finding the right people for the job, and they just happen to be over 60% are female. We are in the change industry. We are in the whole kind of helping people move on a change journey, and so I guess being female, there is that element of empathy and that understanding, and that kind of resonates with our clients quite well. I agree with Helen. It's all about giving everybody the opportunity. It's about coming here and learning from everyone, and actually giving the people the opportunity on the ground when they're doing the work, and being able to effectively accelerate growth and development, and encouraging growth and development. And listen, when I took up, at the age of 50, I took up learning to fly planes. If I can do that at the age of 50, I'm sure any of you guys can do anything you want. So it's just about wanting to do something and wanting to do something badly enough to be able to drive forward with it. So
thank you so much. So for me, I get involved in a lot of initiatives. So I go out and talk to schools and talk to colleges as well about careers in cybersecurity. And it's really important for me to be able to inspire not just the next generation, but also people who are like me, who want to transition into technology and into cybersecurity. So I also go out and I tell my own story as well, because I actually spent a number of years working not in tech and cyber. I worked in the entertainment industry, and I worked with Chris Tarrant of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire fame, the first host of it. And I did that for a number of years and then made the transition into cyber back in 2009. So I always go out and sort of talk about my own journey. I did not see myself in any way, shape or form, technically minded or, into anything in terms of cybersecurity. But I had that interest and I had that sort of knowledge around social engineering and the human aspects of cybersecurity, and that's what really, really fascinated me, and that's where I've stayed since I made that transition. And I've also worked a lot with professional services organisations as well. And I think for me, it's go out and talk to the next generation. I'm also a mentor as well for people, and I think that's so important that they can see role models and people who have done it that they could aspire to look at and go, wow, that is going to be me, and I'm going to be able to make that journey and that transition.
It's maybe a simplification of what everyone said in here. I do truly believe that everyone's story matters, which means in each person you come across different challenges, and that can be used as an example to the next generation to see that by being themselves, they can be in tech. Tech is for all, for everyone, not female, not just man, and they need to just do it, as I mentioned before.
Thank you. So I think it's really important for us to retain women that are in organisations and within the tech sector, as well as reaching out to younger women that are considering moving into tech, because that's the future. So I think it's really important I think Lisa touched on it, around mentoring, finding a sponsor, finding someone that you can speak to that can coach you into navigating your career, having a look at what's out there, what is a career that you'd like to gear towards within tech, because tech is huge. There's so many different perspectives that you could do. You could do different roles, and you don't have to be set on one role and that's your role forever. Technology is always emerging, so don't hold yourself back, but we have to keep the pipeline open. We've got to keep women in tech and encourage girls and women to come into tech. So it's really, really important. Thank you, everyone. My phone's gone to sleep, sorry. Okay, so the next question, the future of digital transformation. I think we may have touched on this a little bit earlier, but we'll go into a little bit more detail. Emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, and IoT are rapidly evolving. What trends do you foresee shaping digital transformation in the coming years, and how can women position themselves at the forefront of the advancements? Do you want to go?
I'll have a go. So we talked about, you've listed AI, machine learning, we've spoken about Internet of Things, 5G, and the whole digital virtual reality and augmented reality. Those are the main 5 trends that I'm kind of aware of, if you like, and there's a lot more than that that are coming. And I think you mentioned earlier about data, and all of this is going to be centered around data. So I think if you put all of that together, ultimately, we go back to the earlier point about the information that is in that data that's accessed by machine learning and by AI and through everything else. It's important for all of us, and I know I'm repeating myself, to actually interact and get in there and input good quality data, because that's what's going to drive the future opportunities around all of everything tech that we've just been talking about. So those are the main trends. I suppose coming at it slightly differently, ultimately it's going to impact every single individual in this room and in the world. And in our job, it's about helping them through that journey and helping people through that change. People's jobs are going to change, but let's not think that it's going to be negative, because if you go back two decades ago, the internet didn't even exist, and we were pretty much frightened by what's coming, and actually look at us today. So expect the unexpected, but be prepared to embrace it. That would be my view on that.
I think just quickly as well, just having a mindset of open-mindedness, acceptance. There's always going to be things that individuals have to do on a human level. So irrelevant of the change and the emerging tech, it might seem quite daunting, but actually we're still going to have to get involved. We're still going to have to recognise the need for change. And we're still going to have really experienced practice change professionals to enable all of these emerging techs to take place. And I think as a change professional myself, and the nervousness around people losing employment or having tech doing things that they would normally do, there are always business critical tasks and things that we need to be doing to enrich the tech, improve the knowledge, and increase the value of the data that we're putting into the tech as well. So it's just really important to remember that and embrace it and change with it.
Apart from embracing the change, and maybe we can tap into the potential of we have diverse people with us. So listen more, learn more from other people would help you catching up with the trend in the tech industry. And also, if you heard about total experience, that listen to the focus on the user experience, customer experience, and also the employee experience. This will help to design the tech that for everyone. And we should all not feel bad to actually go to help define the policy or define building the tech or get involved into the innovation.
Thank you. So for me, it's embrace it and always keep learning. And, as we mentioned, there are all these different things coming to the forefront, 5G, blockchain, Internet of Things, quantum computing, and so on. They're all coming at us at a really, really hectic pace. And even myself, I'm upskilling at the moment. I'm doing some courses on AI and learning language models at the moment. And I'm also looking at doing a research piece on how those of us who are neurodivergent how we talk to those models like ChatGPT and learning language models. They're going to communicate differently than those that are neurotypical. So that's a big area of interest and something that I'm looking at researching at the moment. And fortune favors the bold. That's something that I would absolutely say. So, take that course, go for it. Look at upskilling. Look at all your transferable skills as well, because they can stand you in really good stead.
Yeah. So I think also it's really important. I think everybody's touched on this. Learning is, you've got to keep on top of your learning. I've done a number of AI certification recently. I think there's so many different levels of certifications you can do. I think people get worried and daunted about, oh God, do I have to go and do an exam and do a really long learning course? There's so many quick and easy LinkedIn courses. There's so many resources out there. So definitely keep on top of it, and don't just stick to one AI stack. So not just ChatGPT, there's Perplexity, there's DeepSeek, there's so many different AI agents out there. And I think also embracing the fact that things like agentic AI is a benefit. There's, a lot of the, more repetitive tasks, AI will now take that away to allow humans to do things that are, more positive, to drive strategy, to drive conversations and digital transformation forward in a different way. And it just takes away the more repetitive tasks away. So I think it's really important to embrace it, as Lisa said. Thanks, everyone. Okay, this is going to be our last question. So the human side of digital transformation, beyond just technology, successful digital transformation requires cultural change. How have you leveraged leadership, collaboration, and inclusivity to drive meaningful tech-driven innovation in your industry? Anybody want to go first?
So this is the topic that's closest to my heart. as we both said, we are in the change industry, and actually it's what we do every day. This is part and parcel of our business. And to me, it's all about the hearts and minds, and it's about taking people on the journey. And cultural change is really fundamental to that, because you can't just throw in tech and expect it to work. It's got to be about people, process, technology, and those three constantly move together. Do you know, I learned that phrase about 30 years ago, and it's so true today, and it's never ever going to change, because you need good tech, yes. You need good processes for them to work, yes. But you also need the people and the human element to be addressed as well. And that, I think quite often, organizations miss that part, and they don't understand the impact, and they think, oh, you know what, just give them Copilot, it'll be fine. But actually, how does that impact how they work, how they interact with each other, how they access information, and to what end, and what is the value and what is the impact? That is what it's all about. And ultimately, we've got to deal with the people side for us to be able to get the best value for our customers and our communities and society as a whole. Thank you.
Have you ever been in a situation where somebody has said, right, this is happening, you've got no control over it, and then you've got to change your whole role or responsibility to fit in with that change? And how did that make you feel? And I think sometimes there is a massive deficit around organisations that have got no consideration or understanding of the impact that has on engagement or culture, or the way that an organisation in terms of productivity is then going to perform. If you're dragging someone through something that they really don't want to do, you haven't sold them the benefits, they don't understand why you've been placed there, they think, actually, I really like the way that I've been working already, I've got all of these workarounds, things are absolutely fine. There is no problem on a working level. You need to see past that. You need to change your mindset, and you need to have a different perspective. And what you're saying around the hearts and minds, that's absolutely it. If I came round and I said to you, look, I know this is going to be really difficult, but I'm actually going to sit down with you and I'm going to show you how it's going to impact your day to day. We're doing it this way right now, but actually tomorrow, if we do it this way, you're going to save 45 minutes, and that's going to free you up to do the things that you love. You're going to be engaged, you're going to be on that change cycle with me, and you're going to help me make that change and deliver that improvement within the services. And that's really important. You have to engage in the change before anything else can be enabled. So you have all of these outputs, you've got your organisation pushing you to make a difference. But without the people and the hearts and minds, the culture will still leave you in the past. So it's really important to recognise that if you're going to do it, you have to do it together, or you can't do it at all.
So for me, absolutely. People tend to forget the people part of people, process and technology. And digital transformation for me isn't just about deploying new technologies. It's also about those shifting mindsets, breaking silos, and also that culture of adaptability and inclusivity. And as has been said, embracing the fact that some of this new technology can save a whole amount of time, allowing you to focus on more creative or other tasks that you need doing, can be absolutely game-changing. And for me, I find change really, really difficult as a neurodivergent person. But I'm also not one of these that wants to sit there and go, well, I've done it this way for however long. I'm going to continue to do it this way because there's no other or no better way. And I still always look at embracing those new technologies and new ways of doing things. And I also look at championing policies that support digital transformation and upskilling programs as well, so that it's made a lot more accessible and beneficial for everyone.
For the human side, I believe everyone are different, and everyone go to change differently, but they all can be inspired by the vision that bring out the right benefit to them. Some of them need to be built up with some confidence. That means giving them to see small win, the benefit that come out with it from each small win, and take them through the journey. That is the way that you can ease people in, listen to them through the journey, and win people's heart.
Perfect. I think everybody's covered what I was going to say. I think it's really important about communicating because, as I think you've all touched on, it's a journey. You know, tech's always emerging. So sometimes someone's going to be, somewhere else in their journey and someone's not. So sometimes just talk to someone. There's plenty of resources available. If not, reach out to me and I'm sure I can point you in the right direction. I think it's really important to embrace rather than get left behind and have to leave tech. Embrace it, take it forward, and you can have a booming career with all of the innovation. Thank you, amazing panelists. It's been a really, really insightful conversation. We can open up the floor to questions. Does anybody have any questions? Of course, yeah, we'll keep going.
I have a question specifically for Lisa. You mentioned about fact-checking. Because there are so much stuff on social media, and we don't know which one is genuine, which is not. Yeah. But recently, we have heard that the Meta has dropped its fact-checking program. Yeah. So, what would you say on that?
Always look at reputable sources. So always go to things like the BBC or Reuters or the PA Association or anything that's reputable. And if you see something that you're not sure of, always do that and look to see what's out there in terms of information about it. I think that it's a huge mistake that they're getting rid of a lot of their fact-checking people. I think that it's only going to make it a bit more of the Wild West in terms of disinformation and misinformation. And of course, we've got the deep fakes to deal with as well, with the videos and content coming out that we're not sure if it's even genuine content in terms of video. So just always have that in mind whenever you're looking at anything, and always try to look at reputable sources to make sure that what you are looking at is indeed the correct information.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Esther. I'm a product manager, and I'll direct one of my questions to Chontica, but I'll throw the other one open. I have two questions. So my first question is for people in tech or as a product manager, having to work with several people, engineers and the like, how do you keep track of the new technologies that we have, so many of them, and know which one to apply to your product? Because you have to do a lot of decision making at that point, I guess. So how do you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to work with at this time? And when you have to guide a lot of engineers, especially as a female product manager working with a lot of male engineers. So that's my first question. Should I give the second one also? Okay.
I may not be able to remember. Okay, as a product manager, your role is tied to maximize the value of your product. It's not you alone to make decision. It's your team and you to help make decision. So the success of you actually come from you have the right team with you. So you will have people who have expert in this area, and you come with the business alignment or business goal. In that way, you make decision with your team, and that is how you will success and know which technology to apply. Past one thing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the concept of spike. Spike is kind of discovery work. You put spike in, try to discover with technology that answer your business goal.
Thank you for that. I'm going to check that out. Thank you. Okay, I just got a tip that my second question can come to Amandip, so I'm just going to put it at you if you don't mind. And it's for new moms. So for how is that impacted? As for instance, I'm a new mom. I have a 7-month-old baby, and I have taken a break from my career. And how has this impacted your career in terms of like getting back into the industry and balancing this together with? I know it's a typical question, but I would like to get like practical answers. So how do you balance like managing your sort of taking care of a child and then building your career and growing into senior leadership in tech?
So I've got 2 daughters. One's now 21 and one's 9. So I've gone through the whole motions in my career, and I've been in tech for over 20 years now. So it's always a challenge, and I think it's really important to think about what you want in your career. It's easy to be a mum. I'm sorry, it's not easy, but it's easy to make the decision to stay at home and focus more on the family. But coming and trying to balance your home life and your work life, it's going to be challenging. I think it's really important to be open with your employer, to speak to them about flexibility. If you need to be, feeding time as your child's a lot younger, to say, there's certain times in the day that I need flexibility. However, I will provide that flexibility back. I think that having to struggle with it yourself and manage the day job is always a challenge. I struggled with it for a number of years, where I had to be back, and I used to travel like over an hour, and I had to be back at the latest by 6 p.m. And every day, without a doubt, my manager would put a call in for 5 o'clock, so I couldn't leave the office, and I'd be in tears trying to get back to my child, and my child being back at the nursery. I was so nervous about speaking to them for asking something which was my right, but we didn't talk about it as much earlier on in career. But now we're in a world where working mums are important. Organisations have to have policies in place to support families and to support your working needs. So I think it's really important for you to say, these are my boundaries, these are the things I will be flexible on, and these are the things I won't be. Because unless you are vocal about it, your organisation will push the limit, because they don't want to have to change it. But HR and organisations in general have policies in place. So I think just ask for what you're right, because you shouldn't have to make any sacrifices on your career because of your personal life. That's my personal preference.
Can I just add to that? Sorry. As an employer, we have always been very sensitive to our team and the team's needs. So I would encourage you to literally be open and ask for what you want, because the most you can do is have a negotiation. So 100%. Yeah.
So I'm going to come at it from, I'm actually not a mother. I don't have any children that are living, but I have been a carer as well for my parents, especially my dad, who had a rare form of encephalitis. And I can echo a lot of what was just said there, because although I was working from home, I would always get calls, put in. And sometimes with my dad, I would literally just have to drop everything, take him up to hospital, or take him to an appointment that had come up, and so on. And I actually had to leave one organisation because I just didn't get that support. And it was always given to those that were mums. And it was always, give everything to Lisa because she hasn't got children. But it's like, well, actually, I know I don't have children, but I do have that caring responsibility to my elderly parents, and I still need that level of flexibility. So I just wanted to add that it's not always from the point of view of being parents. It could be caring responsibilities for other family members, like what I had as well.
Did that answer your question? Next question.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dan, a careers advisor from an FE college in London. And firstly, I want to say thank you to all 5 of you for sharing your experience and your insight, and indeed your advice about embracing technological change, something I'll take forward and use in my practice when having discussions with a range of students. So thank you for that. My question, I fairly often find myself in situations where I'm with young female students and who are, maybe want to go into something like some sort of form of engineering, or indeed the digital, computer programming, cybersecurity sectors, traditionally male-dominated sectors, say. And I'm always interested in trying to, how can I say, get my advice and guidance to them as right and on point as possible. Generally, I try to avoid making reference to the fact that there are young women going into a male-dominated industry, because I feel that would be patronising, that would be a bit objectifying. But I've also known of cases where after advice and guidance, sometimes from a careers advisor or a teacher or someone, they've decided not to go into a male-dominated industry because they haven't actually had anyone of authority or indeed a male or anyone kind of give them that sort of empowerment. So in terms of, so whether to bring up the fact that that there are women going to a male-dominated industry or not is actually quite subjective, and it's difficult to sort of know what to say and how to get it right. So I was just wondering if any of you have got any advice for me, and particularly any do-says or don't-says.
So
Thank you.
I'll go first. So I think it's really important to have the conversation because people don't talk about it enough. It's an obvious fact when I think at best in the tech industry it's at 30% with a gender parity, but in the worst cases it's down to 5%. So it's something that needs to be talked about. So I think it'd be really important for you to maybe help with some coaching for these girls on how it would be in an environment, maybe get into with some organizations to do some work experience or some shadowing of other females or males within an organization so they get some exposure. Because I think it's really hard transitioning from academics into a workplace because nobody gives you that knowledge of working environments and how it can be really isolating and it can be really daunting, and then women fall out of love with the tech industry. So I think that coaching, finding mentors, finding strong leaders within the industry that they can start to shadow and get advice from. Because I think that if I'd have known earlier on in my career that it was easy to go and find a mentor, I would have skipped through so many of the challenges that I had and be equipped with the skills to have those conversations and to call people up on that weren't treating me in the right way. And again, I think that now more than ever, HR and organizations have a lot more interest in well-being because it's very important to retain staff. So they should be picking up on this. And I think it's really important to flag bad behaviors. It's not okay to sweep the bad behaviors under the carpet, and women should not be felt intimidated in an environment. I mean, I've had to be that voice that's constantly making noise, and I've been tagged as here she comes again, making noise about gender diversity and the women in tech, because we have to speak about it. Until there's a room that I can walk into, apart from this one, where there is an equal split, we have to keep talking about it. And the only way we do is to make it more comfortable for girls to want to work in this environment. And I think now more than ever, the newer generation are, maybe the younger generation are a lot more confident in certain scenarios, but then they live on social media, so they don't have the right skills. So maybe helping them with communication, how to deal with imposter syndrome, all of these resources are available. And if not, then reach out, then we can, I'm sure the combination of us can share some resources. Sorry, I've taken the mic.
I also think it's really important to educate the females of today as well. I think without us telling them that it is a male-dominated environment and preparing them for an environment that is going to be completely unknown to them, completely uncomfortable, and they're going into it thinking, yeah, I'm going to absolutely nail this opportunity. How are they ever going to know that there is going to be challenge and how to prepare themselves for it? So I think you're doing the exact right thing. You're raising awareness, and it is absolutely our responsibility to give them a voice, show them what's going to happen, tell them the things, the good, the bad, the ugly, that they could possibly experience, and prepare them for that. And that is the best start that we can give them.
So both ladies have said exactly what I would have said. I guess one question for me. So I've done mentoring for school children. I've done mentoring for college kids, young people, and I've done mentoring for entrepreneurs. I wonder, is there an opportunity to work with career advisors for us to be myth busting and actually spending, offering a little bit of our time? Maybe that's something. I don't know if it happens, but if it doesn't, then we should really. So just a thought, really.
I'll just add on to that, because I was actually speaking to a couple of careers advisors in my local area, and they actually said that they try to steer young girls and young women away from tech and cyber because they feel it's too male orientated. And I was absolutely amazed and gobsmacked by that. And I've actually tried to do that on a local level and raise that much needed awareness within schools, within colleges. And also, a couple of the conversations that I've had with a few young people, some of the feedback that I had was, well, we would consider tech and cyber, but it doesn't feel particularly welcoming. And when I delved into that further, I discovered it was all around how they perceive the industry to be very keep out and don't come in and so on. And it's because of the imagery. And it's things like the padlocks and the shields and everything that gives that subliminal message to them that it's a very closed industry and keep out. And even the colour schemes of a lot of the organisations within tech and cyber, subliminally to them, does say to them it's an area that they're not going to be very welcome in, because a lot of it is very of varying shades of blue. So just even those small tweaks that I could encourage organisations to make can really help to encourage a lot more young girls and women into careers in tech and cyber.
Hello, I'm Simon. I also work in the digital transformation space myself. I think I'm the last question, so I wanted to end it on a positive. Hi. As experts in your field, what are you really super excited about right now that you're working on in this space that you see coming into fruition in the next couple of years? I'd be really interested, and I think other people in the audience would. And the questions to anyone.
So I work with Salesforce as the alliance lead. So agentic AI, I think that is the big thing. It's a big hype. It's going to impact call centers and contact centers, but for a positive. So I think if you don't know agentic AI, learn. It's taking industry by storm, and organizations like Salesforce have now transformed their core products to make it all focused around Agentforce. So I definitely say have a look into that.
I can't profess to single out any particular technologies, but one of the things we work on is the Internet of Things in the business world, and that's looking at connectivity in terms of, I don't know, social care homes and children's and various, mobile devices, etc. So I guess for me, it's about how do we see that coming into fruition in particularly the public sector, because that's an area that's sort of bit behind the curve, to say the least, and it's about bringing that forward, and actually it could transform, particularly the NHS. That could be something that's massive and has a massive impact.
For me, it's about AI power decision making. That is really excited to me because I get to learn new technology that like following the trend of the business as well, and soon going to learn the agentic AI.
Finally, for me, I see a lot of really good AI solutions that are coming to the forefront that can detect potential cyber attacks or data breaches and stop them from happening in their tracks. And it's early days on a lot of it, but I am excited to see where AI goes in terms of actually protecting organizations from cybercrime. There is the flip side to that. I see a lot where AI is actually being used for cyber attacks. But I think if used in the right way, in the right technologies, it can also be a real force for good.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to shout out again to Ifraz, Anita, Naeem, and everybody behind the Midlands Women in Tech Awards, now Women in Tech Awards. Please nominate yourselves, nominate colleagues. The Women in Tech Awards are now open, and it would be great to see as many of you there to celebrate women across the UK on the 17th of October. Thank you, everyone.